So yeah, because the time's running out a bit. I'm heading off OS in a little over 2 weeks now. It'll be the following. This is Friday, and it'll be Sunday fortnight. So it's only about 9 days or so off before I'm flying out with Qantas, which will be interesting. Full service airline for a change. Other little bit of news I had on. Well, actually, I'm a bit of a klutz, and I'm bloody short-sighted, and those two elements played out beautifully when I swiped my old glasses off the table the previous weekend, and it landed on the ground. I wasn't aware of that, and of course, where do you think I stepped? Right onto the frames. And I destroyed the damn things. Look, the actual lenses are bulletproof. They're so bloody thick, but the frames cracked. Took them into Specsavers, which is located where I do my supermarket shopping at Coles, and they said they can't repair it. They see, if I was overseas, they could probably solder it. So I thought, bugger it. Look, I'll just get myself a new pair. I had a feeling I wasn't going to save much money by trying to get that done overseas anyway. I think Australia's pretty competitive nowadays, especially with Specsavers around. And it cost me about $280 to get a new pair of prescription glasses with frames. And I picked them up yesterday, and the really good news is that they're light as a feather. They put in an actual lighter lens than I'd actually asked for. So that was a great bonus. I mean, it's definitely an improvement on what I had. And the frames don't look particularly flash. They're just a black plastic frame, but they're very comfortable. Apparently they'll wear as well as the wire ones, so fine by me. So that's good. I hope you can hear this, because the wind has picked up quite a bit here. It's we've had a very windy few days, and I'll have a look at the trees there. You can get an indication of what the palms swaying there. There's quite a bit of activity in the air, but hopefully, because I'm so close to the camera, you can still hear me fairly well. So yeah, it's been an interesting week, especially with all that stuff with YouTube happening, which was actually backed up by I went on to Kev from Thailand's site. I usually check him out. I've got subscriptions to his site, and sometimes his reports are great. But he's always a guy with a great attitude, and I guess that's why he gets so many subscribers. He's a very friendly guy, easygoing, sort of East Ender type accent. And he had a what they call a shout out, which is sort of basically hats off to this guy who was a cowboy from Thailand. And I'd seen this guy before when he was actually still in the States or in Canada, and he disabled his comments, so he must have got some pretty bad comments from some of the YouTube trolls, I guess. That's all I could figure. So I sort of let that site go, but I just found it by chance with through Kev's site. And so I clicked on there because Kev said he watches it every week. He's a bit of a fan. And I had a look at it, and actually he's got a really good little news segment that he does, and it's sort of like news on other YouTubers that are in the Southeast Asian area. As a matter of fact, he hasn't moved from Canada. That's about, I assumed he had, but he hadn't apparently. He's still back there. I don't know why. He was certainly intending to go to Thailand, but anyway, he's still reporting as if he is there, because he's talking about the expats over in that area. So he gives a bit of a blurb about them. And then he had this discussion about YouTube, and he mentioned how he'd had videos of his had been tampered with through YouTube's new policy. And they've got this bizarre policy now where they call it Heroes, fabulous branding. Heroes, what in effect it is like their own little Stasi. The East German secret police situation where you had citizens spying upon one another. That's what YouTube seems to be wanting to set up. They're setting up a number of people who are YouTubers are tasked with basically sanitising YouTube on behalf of YouTube. Obviously aren't prepared to spend the time to do that task themselves. They want to have their own little spies set up to go through and troll all the all the content. I mean, this is real 1984 stuff, in my opinion. You know, like I'm wondering if they wear brown shirts at the at Google headquarters, because they're, you know, they got a bit of the stormtrooper about them at the moment. That is not a very democratic way of doing things. And the thing is that the communication could be a lot better about why content is being refused monetarization, or it's just being refused to be uploaded at all. I mean, they're making arbitrary decisions, and apparently they're using algorithms because, of course, it's cheaper to use a program, use AI, rather than have people review it, because that's going to cost them a lot of money. But interestingly enough, because this guy, you know, the cowboy from Thailand, alerted me to this issue, which I wasn't even aware of until I'd read his, you know, and looked at his news bulletin. I then did a search of censorship on YouTube today, and hit the jackpot. Of course, I came up with a number of hits and a number of very popular sites that are making a noise about the same issue. There's a lot of very unhappy YouTubers around, and it appears as if people like me, who are the real small fry jobs, we're the ones that are going to get hit the hardest, because YouTube doesn't want to upset the people who are big, because they're bringing in the bucks. But it looks as though the ones that they're going to start fiddling around with are people like myself. And it's happened to me with a few of these TV reviews, and I have no idea which one of my reviews is going to be allowed monetarization. After the last one with Timeless, I don't even know if they're going to allow me to upload it. So, you know, I like to put a bit of work into my videos and do a bit of editing, and basically to increase my own skills. I enjoy the process, but it does take time. I have time, but I'd like to think that I could at least get an audience for what I'm actually putting up in, and you know, taking account of the effort I'm putting in. But if they're going to be arbitrarily blocking content like this, they're going to really make it hard for creative people. And of course, the obvious situation will occur that some other entrepreneur will set up an alternative YouTube, and without these sorts of draconian restrictions. I mean, I did say that YouTube, I did a couple of videos earlier about whether it's a sewer or a bastion of democracy. It's a bit of both, and maybe it should always be a bit of a sewer as well, because, you know, obviously there are certain things that need to be blocked. You don't want to be, there's certain antisocial behaviour you don't want to attract and what have you. But it appears as if the YouTube has gone just far too far with this, and now they're trying to create YouTube as a safe place, which is a term that universities are using in the States, so where people cannot be offended by one another, where they're safe to talk about things without any harm occurring to them. It's like this world where no one gets offended or hurt, which means basically there'll be no speech eventually. That's the logical conclusion of this type of attitude. It's totally against small L liberal values, and of course they're obviously right into having the control. So I'm very worried about this, and really it is 1984 stuff, and you know, we need to do something about it. I'm going to be putting a link up to their own heroes website, and if you feel the same way as me, make sure you give them a thumbs down on this particular video. You'll notice that currently I think the traffic's running something like 20 or 30 times negative as opposed to positive clicks on this one. A lot of people out there are very unhappy with the way they're running things right now, and you know, I think that they'll find that this is not going to work in the long term. The other site that actually that made a big issue about this, they actually challenged a number of their videos being withdrawn, and a lot of it wasn't because of swearing or other things. It was actually, some of it was due to their political comments and what have you, and you know, this is where it's getting into really dangerous ground when they're starting to censor you. That's not all the obvious ones, which is like, you know, gratuitous violence and things like that. We can understand they want to block that type of thing, and you know, child anything, child molestation issues, and that's obvious, you know, animal cruelty, all those things. We know we don't want any of that stuff. We don't want the video nasty stuff. We're not talking about that. We're talking about free speech here. And, you know, this is really dangerous stuff. But they did challenge it, so then it had to be reviewed by a living, breathing person. And every one of the challenges they made, they were basically granted access again. They had all of the restrictions removed, and they were able to have monetization on every one of those videos again. So obviously the YouTube algorithm ain't working too well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But it could come back to bite YouTube. It's a very poor PR exercise apart from anything else. Because one thing about YouTube I did like is it is a sewer, but that's good in a way because, you know, it's a controlled sewer to some extent. It's not total open slather, but it was pretty free. In you know, in a society where a lot of our freedoms have been clipped back, especially in the media area, this is actually quite refreshing. You can go into a place like YouTube and really say what you think. It has opened up a lot of corridors and outlets that people didn't have in the past. I think that's great. So I'm just hoping that the common sense prevails. I mean, having the Google corporate mentality, I'm sure they're not happy at getting their name trashed amongst a number of creative people in YouTube. And I think that they'll have to basically backpedal on this one. But time will tell. Hopefully sanity will prevail, and they'll find something a little more palatable in this, and probably improve their communication skills with the creative people, because a lot of us just don't know where we stand. There's a lot of these guidelines are very vague, and so, you know, it gives them a lot of power. It's like a lot of the council bylaws are there just to basically allow someone to council to take action against, say, a ratepayer if they've done something they don't like. They've got a few grounds to work on, even if they're not necessarily what they really want to get them on. It doesn't matter. They've got some ammunition, and that may be what's going on here. But you know, it needs to be a bit more clear cut than what they're doing, because people aren't going to be busting their guts to put the content on their channel if they don't know that they've got some guarantee it's going to go on. So they've got to get their act together. Anyway, that's my update. Hopefully this won't be damaged. Hopefully it'll be here intact. And as I say, just click on that link if you feel strongly like I do about this issue. Thank you.